everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Roll North. Things. I'm DM Dodge. Devin. To my left, we have Lucas, John, and Ben. To my right, Matt and Spencer.
Hi.
You will notice we're short a couple. They were a little late. They'll be here hopefully around break. So, all that's good. No super big announcements for this week. So I think we'll probably jump right in. Recap last week. Last week, the group left Baldur's Gate, headed for Candlekeep. Prior to now, they acquired a box, an infernal puzzle box. The solution to which they believe to be inside Candlekeep. And Candlekeep itself is kind of a collection of written works, the largest one in all of Faerun, in fact. Small fee to enter, some written work that they don't actually have. So, the party made their way there. We had some interesting encounters, some near encounters with entertainers and farmers.
And a wyvern.
Somebody almost became lunch for a large lizard.
There was the group of in the cart as well, the shields and stuff like that.
Yep. So other than that, we had right before the group entered Candlekeep, our friend Dalius encountered some of his religion.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was very cryptically told the day of his death.
I mean, that's kind of something that I'm supposed to know already, but...
So, that exists, kind of haunting in the back of his mind, or perhaps reassuring him that everything is going to be fine up until that day.
What'd that do for you again?
I have advantage on death saves.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty sweet.
Other than that, the party made their way up to Candlekeep. A little bit of bartering back and forth happened with the gatekeepers, who resolutely informed them that no amount of money and no stories of fictional variety would allow them entry. Fortunately, they had a spell in a spell book that they had acquired in the Dungeon of the Dead 3 that Aurelius regretfully parted ways with. Sacrifice.
There just wasn't a way around it. We tried.
Yeah. There were some good attempts. Ignis's notes on human anatomy and blood magic and other such things.
I wouldn't say that there was
won
no
the
other
day.
way. That's a very Sophie's Choice statement.
Yeah, so there were a couple good attempts, but ultimately they bought their way in and have just entered the city of Candlekeep. Candlekeep sits atop a large cliff. It has massive spires that jut up into the sky, regal. It's a sight to see at the edge of the sea.
Is there we can ask questions about the place in character, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, so I'll give you the quick description once again, going into the city as I'm in here.
We got that nice picture. It looks pretty dope.
You did have a nice picture. I showed it.
The
I'll show
art
it
is
now.
quite nice.
Here's some beautiful artwork
Oh.
Yeah, from the book.
from the book. This is Candlekeep, right at the edge of the ocean. Well, you can see that. So you've entered the first gate. The city itself is tiered upwards, obviously. So there's multiple gates through the city. The streets are fairly wide, not very crowded. There's not a huge population here, especially milling around in the lower area. Inside the initial walls is relatively open, and the person that you talked to at the gate informed you of the place to go, which is called the Hearth. Candlekeep's one and only pub, where sort of new enterers to the city, adventurers, new seekers of knowledge, usually end up making their way to before they head deeper into the city.
So it is a city.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a keep or a castle here?
Yes.
No,
So the
just
whole
candles.
thing is kind of that. From the walls, the base, upwards, everything is tiered, everything is walled. So if
Is
you want
this-
to,
is this
you can
like-
take a look at that.
Helm's Deep looking.
It's
If you
like
wanna
a
see-
ca-
try not to
candle
read
is
anything because
melting.
there's
None-
spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you go up, it's more fortified. Up towards the top, you see there's wizards' towers. You will notice as you enter a fair number of kind of glowing wards. Every indication that the entire place is magically protected. And those of you who have knowledge arcana, go ahead and give me an arcana check.
No, I do have that. Haha.
First roll of the night. Oh, I was like,
It's a 14.
14,
11.
11,
18.
18.
18 as well.
All right, the 15 aboves will get it. These are wards against any sort of teleportation, be it blink, misty step, teleport, mass teleport, anything like that. Gate, doesn't matter. Nothing can not physically leave the city due to those wards.
I mean, I presume it would make sense because they have very strict rules on entering. I imagine that they want to regulate how people enter and exit the city. So,
Definitely.
Can you bloop within the city though?
No,
So
not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, no blooping in or out.
no,
Is that-
no looping.
That's the
Does that
technical term.
That is the technical term.
I got
for
an 18 as an
teleportation.
arcana. That's the real word.
Does that include Misty Step then too?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah. You're all modes of transportation in this city are physical.
Okay.
No shadow stepping, no any of that.
Is there a port here too? Is there like a trade?
No, it is kind of at the top of a massive set of cliffs.
Okay.
They get deliveries, but they don't really do too much trade. It's more really rich and powerful wizards and bookkeepers and stuff, and pretty much everything they do is just it's a bunch of librarians.
I feel like it's a really large
Yes.
condo for retirees. You have to be a retiree to go to. You know?
Kind of
like
like as
a-
Florida got it.
Yeah. but like nice.
It's Punta Gorda.
Kind of like a homeowner
Punta Gorda,
society.
Yeah. I feel like it's one massive condo. You have to have a certain level to get into.
It's all like also like PhD level fellowships. That's what you have. You just get money to exist there and do research for the rest of your life. You know,
Okay.
That's the dream, I think.
it is the dream. It was my dream. Yeah,
Your
anyway.
new dream's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's
all
okay. Cool. So, I think once we entered the gate, was he leading us to the pub?
No, he is the two individuals from the gate.
Yeah.
Very definitely stayed at
The
the
monks of
gate.
Dunir.
Yes, exactly.
Priests, whatever.
The priests. Your good friend, Vimthamper, who's been traveling with you, has been silent
no,
most
no.
of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just on an out of game level, he'll kind of be there. He won't really interact too much. He's a little bit wary of everything. He's never been out of Baldur's Gate. He's never traveled. All of this is a very new experience to him. So he by himself will just kind of be hovering a little bit insulate from everything else.
What is like, and you described it a little bit, but what's the atmosphere of this place? Like what kind of, you can't necessarily tell us what emotions we feel, but like what vibe?
Yeah, it's like a college campus,
Okay.
but like a grad school campus.
How busy are the streets?
Gotcha.
Not incredibly busy. Down here, like I said, the city's tiered. So down here is mostly new arrivals, and that doesn't happen too much. The things you do see there are occasionally wagons that come in with food and supplies. They come into this just lower level area, drop their stuff, and leave. They obviously have some sort of permit to enter for short durations.
I feel like it looks old but very well maintained.
Yeah, it's massive gray stone, tons of really ornate carvings and depictions on things. Not a lot of colorful murals,
Mhm.
but definitely like mural etchings. Less paint, more carving.
They've improved mending, so they actually
Exactly.
keep things going.
They have the useful version of mending.
Fabricate.
The version of mending that does things.
Magic is commonly used here. Everything is very clean. The cobblestones are fairly worn. There's very little housing down here. There's kind of an open market space, and the inn, as I described.
Are animals allowed?
Are animals allowed? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna nudge you in the shoulder a little bit. I'm gonna be like, hey, I wonder what kind of spell components you'll be able to find here. This is
It is
fantastic.
a city of mages.
There's a point.
I'll just be walking around with like my hand on my crossbow. I feel like I'm fairly used to life in Baldur's Gate, and it seems very strange. That
Every 3 seconds you check your pointers.
Right, like no one else is walking with like weapons on their hips or like preparing
Because
to
they
kill
are
somebody.
the weapon.
Right, but like no one's like, I'm gonna kill you in the next 5 seconds. I mean, do I see people walking by themselves?
Yes, you do. Not
Yeah.
everyone's walking in groups. It's definitely a little more.
Much
That's
more
super
relaxed.
strange.
I'm not going to say relaxed because people here have purpose. You don't see a lot of people casually wandering around. Everyone is striding very purposefully to their destinations.
It kind of looks like in an other reality they may all have briefcases, but none of them have briefcases. They're just in mage outfits.
They have their satchels.
They have their
They have their
They have
bags
their
of holding.
satchels.
What time of day is it?
I would say I don't think it was
That's a good question.
mid-morning.
Mid morning. Okay.
Do bag of holding work here?
Do you have a bag of holding to test that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's fine. I want to buy a bag of holding.
to the effect of not being able to teleport or move in and out of places through magic. Is there an entertainment circle for practical magic here? Are they amused by that? Not using magic to disappear? Are there a David Blaine for every Gandalf?
You're not entirely sure, looking at the place, that there's a lot of exciting entertainment. You get the impression there might be like book clubs and like poetry readings. And
Poetry slam.
and like history reenactments, perhaps. But yeah, for the most part, it's peaceful and calm, but studious.
Do I-
Kind of
Do I see any like stone philosophers walking around? Or anything?
stone philosophy.
You already got off the stuff. Don't go back.
I feel as if we're gonna come across at least one storefront here in Candlekeep that's going to be very like comic book store like, but with the guy behind the counter who's just like snooty about everything. Except instead of comic books, it's
This is a-
magical text.
This is a
It's like,
first edition
you don't-
Mordenkainen's.
you don't know about Mordenkainen's.
You don't have the pre-copy.
Were we given
Spectres and
a general
spirits
direction
book.
towards the pub?
I have a
Yeah,
magical
so
wrapping around
the hearth,
it. It's
as
priceless.
it's called, the hearth itself stands very obvious as you enter. It's the largest building in the lower area. Like I said, the place is very open. But the hearth itself, as soon as you're inside, you can pick it out. You see it.
And this is towards dusk, right? That
No,
we're out
midday.
here? Oh, it is midday. Okay. Perhaps then we should secure our lodgings for the evening before we begin adventuring around.
Hey, did anybody see Egan or Sterling?
I think they ran off to the bar.
They might be at the bar already.
Oh yeah, that's right. There is one bar.
There's one bar.
The hearth.
The hearth.
The hearth.
I haven't slept in a real bed in, what has it been, a week now?
Yeah, that would be true.
I don't know.
Well, I assume someone at the hearth will be able to tell us where we can stay.
Yeah, I think we should
Or
also
we
go
stay
to the
there.
hearth.
I mean,
Never
actually, it's been longer. I slept on cold beds, on the ship's floor. Ugh, when was the last time I slept in a bed? I don't know.
Nature's not terrible as far as sleeping goes. You just have to get used to it.
I mean, for the first number of days being in Baldur's Gate, I was sleeping in alleyways, but that's because I was homeless and I did not plan my stay well.
Mm-hmm.
But these things happen. especially in Baldur's Gate.
So here's the thing. Actually, I'll wait on this. So where do you guys head?
I think going to the hearth first is a good idea, just to secure our lodgings for the night.
Sure.
All right. So you make your way to the building. Make your way inside. And see the following. The pub itself has a low ceiling, supported by massive wooden crossbeams and narrow shuttered windows. A large fire pit in the middle of the room is surrounded by a half-dozen tables and matching benches. The pit is going. There are about a half-dozen patrons around. One of them immediately strikes you as out of place.
Oh, I was like, wow.
Bam! Black knowledge!
Knowledge through osmosis.
Oh, hi, Sterling. You were there the whole time.
This figure is a very large ogre.
Oh.
And he's
Okay.
sitting in the corner with a book that is a large tome that fits in one hand, and he's daintily flipping through the pages. Other than that, there's a couple elves sitting in a set of chairs in the far corner. They seem to be discussing something kind of quietly. They each have textbooks in their hand. There is a barkeep who's kind of lounging back against the bar. He has a book in his hand.
Using the English to go.
Everybody,
I pull out my book and start reading.
everybody's reading or engaging in kind of discussions, what you assume are about the books that they have.
I joke about that. I will take my book out and just place it under my arm, so I like fit in a little bit.
All right.
Oh, you want to be cool
One of the
nerds.
cool kids.
Do they?
One strap it with my backpack.
Before I enter, is there a scarf store nearby so I can I can look the part? Or none of them are wearing scarves, are they?
None of them are wearing scarves, but what you do see is a souvenir shop, and it might have some scarves there.
Are you sure you don't want to get like an undercut too on the side?
Get some cool reading
That
glasses.
sounds great. New me, new Candlekeep. No, I'll just go in as my gritty self.
Dirty.
Dirty, gritty self.
I'll kind of wave to the bartender, just kind of signal like, "Are you free for a moment to talk to us?"
Yeah, you. As soon as you wave to him, he kind of like looks up, nods to you, steps forward, and says, "Oh, you look recently traveled. You new to the city?"
We're a little road worn. Yes, we're new. This is our first stop in. So
Oh,
first
welcome
time
to
here.
Candlekeep.
Thank you.
First time, you said.
First time we
I
could.
have to ask, what book did you bring?
It was something we picked up on our adventures. We weren't able to decipher it, so we've given it away. So it could have been.
No title, nothing.
Well,
What manner of
was-
tone was it? I must know.
It was a spell book with a spell that the city did not have.
Interesting.
not many spells that Mistra didn't create, right? So it's like
Spells have a way of losing track of themselves. Sometimes you have a spell and it's gone. So go the libraries.
We were hoping to make sure we secure a room for the night, maybe baths if you're not too scarred by your last experience, and maybe some laundry services. Kind of get a
Private. That's why you clarified private facilities, not shared facilities.
Of course. No. So the hearth itself is more of a communal space for drinking and reading and, and such things. But immediately behind the hearth, against the city wall back there are a variety of, one might call them dormitories that newcomers
like
to
a
the city,
hostel?
Yes. That newcomers to the city are welcome to spend some time in as they get their feet on the ground and,
Is there a wizard discount?
they're no charge.
Oh.
It's a pleasure to finally.
Here's my wizard card. Give me a discount. I'm a member.
It's a pleasure to finally travel from a place that is hostile to a place with a hostel. I
Baldur's Gate.
I had to fit
I
in a pun
audibly-
for the occasion.
I audibly groaned.
Fine. I smell the general aroma of old books, but I welcome that. This is very different. I like this.
You're all from Baldur's Gate then.
Oh, absolutely.
I can tell by the look on
Could
your
you not
face.
tell?
From is a hard
Absolutely.
is a specific word.
You said things are free.
Not all things. The lodging for newcomers. Your first couple weeks as you stay here, and if you're going to leave, by all means. I mean, why would we charge you to stay? If you're going to stay, then you'll
Interesting.
obviously be purchasing housing
What are
at quite some cost. So
so these things are just provided by by the city, by
yes.
this place?
Are you all druids? Do you just take
No, it's called having a strong social welfare network.
I see. Okay.
I was about to ask, what are the taxes like here? But that goes a little deep, doesn't it? I have no. Hi.
You will find perhaps that some of you might be wizards. You'll find whatever your occupation, as you get better at it, you obtain wealth.
Okay.
It's a bunch of influencers.
Well, they
Oh,
can.
I see.
Shills. They're called shills.
Hey, independently
Anyways.
wealthy, if you will.
Okay. Well, 2 teas, please.
Of course.
Do you
Do we get them to
do you
go?
have variant kinds?
I will.
Of
I
teas?
will. I will make an amendment. We do, of course, not an amendment so much, but yes, the drinks do cost coin.
I'm happy to pay.
What
I turned
what
it
kind of
anyway.
teas do you have?
Oh, we have a variety. We have.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna ask about all the teas.
Do you have a certain kind of tea?
We have some. I mean, you'll have to be a little more specific.
A certain kind of Joplin's tea, the addictive kinds.
Chaplin's tea. No, we do not have such things.
Do I roll for today, or did I already roll?
No, you already rolled.
You already
for
rolled
today.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I think I like unpoisoned you too, because you.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay, yeah, you guys helped me out with that. That's good.
Yeah, lesser restos.
Yeah.
But if you are looking to recover more quickly from this affliction, I'm sure that there are many in the city who have knowledge of quickly recovering from addictions.
At some
Is it-
point, however, I think that while some people need help recovering their addictions, this is a good thing. It's also perhaps good to learn your lesson the hard way.
Well, I mean,
Is this going to be like a montage where it's like rehab here, rehab there?
Perhaps some library steps.
if they have a temple to Kalimvor here, I should be able to get us a huge discount on,
Oh, there are no
reincarnation if you need a new body. If that one's
there are no
broken now.
temples to any of the deities here.
What? What? Where did? How does that work? Don't they smite you or something?
The temple isn't here.
My body is.
People certainly have their spaces within their homes, and even public ceremonies are fine. But there has not been any coin spent in our space is a valuable resource here, and so there has not been coin spent or resources used on.
You're not one of those
places of
people
worship.
that thinks the gods are all in our minds and that we're doing the magic ourselves, do you?
Of course not.
Okay.
I worship Daenerys, as many in the city worship Daenerys.
Okay. Good.
Oh God, because you're not atheist.
Yes, Daenerys.
Very well. Well, so perhaps then we go. We get our drinks to go, and then we.
go?
Do you have? Are you sure you don't have like a paper cup with like perhaps like a little bit of a?
That's at least 40% recycled
thicker-
material.
A thicker paper kind of cozy sleeve around it.
If you have a flask, we could put a drink in your flask, I suppose.
Well, perhaps that's.
I say, how about this? Let's get our drinks here, and we'll figure out what our plan is.
I will
Not
tell you,
nuts.
by way of lodging, there's no concern that there is a place for you.
We will just find a bed in there, it sounds like.
There are several wardens who wander them, and you approach one and say, "I need a room for the night," and they will say, "How long have you stayed?" And you tell them how long you have stayed, and they are very clever. They will be able to tell if you're lying, but then they give you a key to a room.
They just construct you your own Mordenkainen's mansion, you know? Like, okay. Well,
It's
Then-
bigger on the inside.
Perhaps it would be to our benefit to just simply rest,
Let us enjoy some
reprieve.
reprieve.
2 teas, a copper
teas.
each.
And give them to him.
Anything else to drink for you?
uh,
Food?
Yeah, just have some water with citrus in it, and
Tapas?
do you have tapas here?
We do.
I don't know. What is that?
It's-
Small plates.
It's when you have enough money to eat
I.
to eat less with more flavor.
That's all I've eaten.
but with more flavor.
Spicy flavor.
Not the flavor of rot, spices and such things. Yes.
Yeah.
So no kombucha.
Look, I know- I
certainly
remember
can
how
put
to
Or
do
fermented
this.
tea. Sorry, I don't know kombucha exists.
I remember how to do this from
It's
my youth.
just-
Fermented tea.
We'll take if you have anything seasonal right now. See, I know
Oh, of
language.
course, yes.
It's on
We have recently delivered some citrus from
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Did you have a ponder?
Wasn't Umbao from
The wild roses.
No, he was from Chult.
Oh,
Schultz.
Wild Rose was from.
Yes.
Everything reminds me of her.
Let us-
Everything reminds me of this
so
person. I
let's-
don't remember.
No, I
Let's
know.
start here. Let us drink to our fallen friends, and hopefully, the rest of our day will not be sad.
So we'll go to a table. We'll find an empty table and we'll sit down and we'll go from there.
Okay.
We don't need to take up the barista's time.
I order some food.
Yeah, I'll also order some food.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ditto.
Yeah. They'll. It will take probably half an hour before they get it out to you. But they bring out these perfectly manicured, plated little. Tiny portions of delicious little foods.
And while we do so, could we get some, like pointers he could give us on places to visit to fill up our, journals and whatnot with knowledge,
Well, the entire city, you understand, is kind of a library.
Right.
You choose perhaps a topic, or perhaps an age, or perhaps however you might choose. There is a building, a structure, a resource, or a place to.
We're
pursue
looking
those
for some.
resources.
We came across something that is a little dark, a little infernal. Nothing. We're not that kind of people. We're not. But we found something that we need a little assistance deciphering. If you have any, any experts that might know about the infernal, the devilish, if you will.
There are many, and there's an entire library on the plains.
Okay.
That is.
Perfect.
Is there a specific reason? You said some dark. Sorry, repeat
Well,
yourself.
no,
I'll just pull the book out from under my arm and
Well, there's that too.
set it on
That was the other
the
thing.
bar top for him.
Sort of a rambly text that has a lot of wisdom that we can't necessarily put together with our non-Candlekeep brains.
There's the second thing. There's this paperweight.
And that is something that, well, you don't have the paperweight. He has the paperweight.
oh,
And that is something that we can talk about at a later time.
fine.
Yes, by all means. I have no interest in any of your secrets or quabbles. Just keep it to yourself.
Well,
until you
I
have a
guess
question
we'll
worth
take our
answering.
business elsewhere. No.
It's- but this book looks interesting. I take it you did not use this for entry because of some value that was ascribed to
I
it.
wouldn't say value was the determining factor.
Perhaps the possibilities that it provides.
Of course. Well, there, depending on what's in it, like I said, there are experts in the plains, in the fiendish, in the abyssal, these kinds of things. But if you said hard to decipher, in what way hard to decipher?
It's the ramblings of a madman about the end of days.
The ideal person to help you with that is Mad Bob.
Oh, okay. Not just like a prophecy section of the library, but
No, he's a person. Yes.
Okay.
He's Mad Bob is he lost his mind ages ago reading texts such as this, and while he's entirely mad and whatever mood he might be in varies day to day, if you catch him in a good mood, perhaps he could be of some help.
Where can I find him?
He wanders. It's hard to keep track of him, but I would hazard a guess that he would be in some lower level of some planner library or some knowledge or some section that has the worst, most terrible kind of prophetic ramblings that exist.
So yeah, we should go to the planner library.
A basement somewhere.
The stacks, right?
Yes.
A madman to decipher a madman.
If only we had a hunter with us, someone who had a bounty of ways to find someone.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Could you maybe lead the search for Mad Bob?
I'm also a temple inquisitor. You're not looking at me. I mean, go ahead. Keep
You
going.
are an
Oh,
interesting
hi.
group.
Where
I
was
just
where
realized
is the
everybody's
largest
here.
planner library?
Yes. At the very top of Candlekeep, there are the Archmage's Towers.
Real estate.
The very center one. Inside that tower resides Silvira Savakas. She's one of the Archmages and sort of an expert on such things. But the stacks and libraries that her office sit above are a good place that you could start in your research.
Can you hit me with that name again?
Silvara Savakas.
Wow, it's quite.
Not Salvatore. Savatas. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Is there fee to get to the upper levels?
No. Although time with some of the archmages can require some sort of gift or fee or service, given the importance of their research and studies and the amount of time they have available.
That's a good question. Do they ever need adventurers or people with that are a little more mobile to go out and find things, like fetch things? Good.
Often,
Okay, we
yes.
can do that.
I will say that Silvira is quite preoccupied most recently with the happenings in El Terrell. She traveled there close to after it occurred to do some research, and she has been kind of not easily accessible since that occurrence.
Sounds like a person to talk to.
I think we all remember where we were when El Terrell fell.
As you say that,
I
as you say that, these guys all kind of give a collective look at you, and I will say at this point, whatever your feelings were in the moment, remember you're in a little different place now. So you have this. You haven't really thought about it too much, but your mind travels back to that moment, to the things that occurred, to what brought you there, where you first saw these other people, and perhaps that hits you a little differently now, perhaps it doesn't, but it's definitely a memory that you had not processed with a clear mind.
Thought about for a while.
Perhaps speaking with Selvira will provide some more insight on what she knows of El Terrell just before the events happened.
Or just everything that's been happening.
But I will tell you, if you're looking to meet with Silvira, recently she was away. I'm not sure if she's quite back in her tower yet. I would go and call after one of her sages or apprentices in her library and see
Make an appointment is what you're getting at. Appointment only.
something like that.
Yes, appointment only.
Then perhaps that's what shall we do.
And I would also, if you are going to talk to her, be step carefully. I think she has lost a friend in everything that occurred.
I believe some of us would know the feeling.
I'm not surprised. I just figured you might want to know.
Well, we appreciate the knowledge and substance. Perhaps we just finish our food and our drink, and then we get back on our feet.
By all means, sit. Plenty of open room.
Thank you.
Is there a tea shop somewhere in the city?
There are definitely places where one could purchase.
Some loose leaf tea.
Yes, of course. We do not sell it. We do not sell it in bulk, however. Here.
It's more artisan than craft tea.
1 ounce little packets.
We roast our tea in the back.
You don't roast tea.
You do some.
Have we heard of coffee before?
Have you ever had ujicha? It's a roast grain. Delicious. No.
Okay. Okay. So we haven't heard of coffee. Still, I hope that Oren at some point finds coffee.
That's his addiction.
That's
Caffeine.
it.
It helps me hold my crossbow so much more steady.
And when we finish this, we will be opening the book of Tomb of Annihilation, where we will head to Chult and search for coffee.
That's funny. Cool.
But yes, please enjoy your. Just have a seat and take a load off. If you need anything to eat, drink, please don't hesitate to call.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'll move over and find a comfortable chair and maybe for a moment relish in the foreign feeling of feeling comfortable.
Yeah. As you sit down in the chair, one of the things you notice is there's a candle on a table between a couple cozy, softer chairs, but that candle is not burning. It has, by all appearances, the light spell on it. Noticing this, you look around, and pretty much everything in the area has this kind of lighting. All of the candles are not true candles. The fire pit in the center is a real fire.
It's all eternal.
But there are no comfortable chairs or benches close to it.
So that's the only place emanating warmth.
Yes.
None of the candles are emanating any warmth.
No.
Is it cold?
It's not cold. You're by the sea. There's a little bit of dampness. I would say there's a little bit of a, damp chill,
Sure.
but not a cold.
Are we in
Okay.
Seattle?
It's more
not
like
raining.
San Diego.
It was raining up until recently, though.
San Diego.
So you sit down. You feel this sense of nobody's going to come up and cut your purse. There's no one who's looking to start a brawl fight or a bar fight with you. That thought crosses your mind as you look up at the ogre who's sitting there daintily flipping the pages of his book.
How big is that book compared to my torso? Is it like...
It's a tome. It's definitely
It's just
a tome.
a big human book, right?
Yeah, it'd be the kind of thing you'd carry around with 2 hands.
I'm
Sure.
legitimately looking around at the darkest corners, wondering if I see weird silhouettes hiding there. Like this is some sort of
Yeah,
like
you try and
fake
find dark
room?
corners. No,
this
it's
is
weird.
this is very strange. I've not been in a place. This reminds me of the College of New Ulm in Waterdeep, and I've not been in a place like this for a long time, and I am very settled,
Can I
uneasy.
can I either insight or arcana why there's not furniture as close to the fireplace?
Oh,
Because it's
yeah.
hot.
Because books and fire don't mix, and heat from flame will very quickly age and harm older books. So
Got it.
you guess that there won't be a lot of fire in the city, particularly in like the stacks and such places.
Got it. Cool.
That's a pretty easy guess.
Okay. Is there like a rug next to the fire?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's just kind of stone floor.
Okay.
Wow. Well, do we have anything we need to do? I mean, do you want, we still have some day left. We could go to the library.
You're right. We should all shift over to the library to make sure that nobody. Wait a moment. This isn't like.
You're all very.
We can just go by ourselves and we'd be safe.
That's true.
This isn't like Boulder's Gate at all.
It is a bit strange.
Mhm.
I'm
That's-
never leaving.
Well,
All right, guys, pack it up. That's it. Roll North retires.
but if we are going to stay here, we'd have to make ourselves useful. You know, we all need somewhere else to resettle anyway. It's not like
Do any of you need to get anything, acquire anything from the journey, replenish anything?
I don't have any money.
I think
A lot of tea.
perhaps a bag of holding would be in order. That might be helpful for our. I mean, I know what a bag of holding is. I would imagine,
Those are pretty rare.
Magic items in general are pretty rare.
even in a place like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think you've probably heard of one. You might have not
That's
seen
what
one
I
if
was
you're
gonna argue. Like, I'm pretty sure like some of the most prolific magic items have been heard from in legend and story. Like, we know what a bag of holding is.
Oh, certainly. But you would no more desire something from a legend or story than.
You know what a
Yeah,
Tesla
Okay,
is.
so
but
that's
you will
like
never
a smaller folktale.
Oh.
You know.
More importantly, though, you know the cost of magic items, and you know that if you pooled all of your resources, it would be unlikely that you would have enough for the meagerest of
But you
magic
know what
items.
is the a bag of holding is a mule with a pack saddle. It just follows you around. It feeds itself. You know.
Well, maybe we could look for. I might find some use in finding an armor or a weaponsmith, a bowyer, perhaps.
Sure.
Kind of like the idea of
I'm not
fixing this wand to my crossbow.
I'm not too sure if you will find any of that in the city.
What is this place is what? Why?
We live in a library now. The
What, you're
city-
already saying we live here? I mean, we haven't really been.
Whoa, Freudian slip,
Going a
Freudian
little
slip.
fast here. I understand that this place is nothing like the place we came from, but I would like to think that we have a responsibility, not to the place that we came from, but to certain things in the place that we came from.
I didn't catch any of
That
that.
is, well, what he's saying is that we saw some things and we should investigate that because
Yeah.
it's important.
We are onto some apocalyptic shit, in other words.
Yes, I find. What did you? I suppose we've talked about it briefly, but we've been moving so quickly. What did you find in the basement of that manor?
That's a good question. Let me go into my mind palace. What happened? Is there any other insight that that maybe we would have found in the course of the adventure that we didn't stumble upon that
If you're speaking of the manor,
yeah.
then those of you who are down there will recall the first room you made your way into was a larger sanctum, inside which there was a large statue of an angel. Also inside that room there was some sort of devil. And a group of individuals who seem to be worshiping that devil. I will even go so far as to say, Aurelius, you will remember the name that the devil identified himself by. I'm not sure if you have it in your notes, but it is Odious. Odious.
Well, I guess
Did he
connecting.
smell?
No, but connecting the dots. Did it trigger any memories of my time with the cults, or was it pretty sectioned
Very
off?
separate.
Okay.
Your entire time with the cults,
Uh-huh.
you never encountered fiends, other than you knew that one of the Van Thampers used imps
Okay.
to watch things, to convey messages to Mortlock
Yeah.
and such.
Are So this place is basically a library, but are there books to buy here?
Not really. There are. I mentioned a souvenir shop. There might be like interesting book titles or covers or remakes, but for the most part, you buy your way in, and you have access to all of it. Everyone who comes here can read this wonderful collection, and they don't want to lose any of their collections. So sending books out from Candlekeep is not so much a priority of theirs.
Sure. I wasn't sure if there's someone like who's making copies of books to sell. Like something simple. Like I was thinking maybe like a bestiary or something like specific.
Like Volo.
Well, if we're talking about like demons and devils and stuff like that, and that's something of interest to my character because they're planar.
There's all of those things available to research here, but knowledge is power, and even selling power in little bits takes away the power that you have. So they keep a lot of their information just here.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I suppose I would like to find a book and a quill. Then, if I can't purchase the knowledge, perhaps keeping track of it, some of it now, might be useful later.
There is definitely a papyrus store. There is you can buy ink by the gallon, by the barrel if you so choose. Those sorts of things. Normal ink, higher quality ink, silvered ink, the types of things that would go towards making scrolls and spells. All of that stuff is plentiful.
I always use charcoal. I don't know.
What's the value of like a silvered ink? Is it like what is it?
It's part of the components for writing spells and
Got
copying
it.
books. So in the DM's guide, there's a section on the cost of doing such a thing, and it's
It
kind
might
of
even
just
be in the PHP.
might be in the PHP. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
it's
rolled
two-
into the cost of.
Got it. So
Copy
it's not like
stuff.
it lasts longer or anything like that.
No.
It's just like for magical means.
Exactly.
Got it.
So one would buy, for mechanical reasons, the 500 gold worth of calligraphy supplies, if you will.
Correct.
And then when copying spells, you just subtract from that
Yep.
lump sum.
Exactly.
Okay.
Banking it.
And it's really, really super simple and easy to do. There's no upcharges. You just go right value to value what it says in the copying spells. Just set aside your gold to the amount of things.
Is there any benefit of copying spells in Candlekeep?
Yes, the
Maybe
infinite
faster.
supplies. However, it still takes time, so you'd be looking at spending some time here.
Okay.
Well, perhaps we, since we have the luxury of going our own ways, perhaps we do that. I would imagine, Aurelius, you have spells and things you'd like to do, especially with the things that we've acquired over this time. I can
I'll have to
use.
see what money moonies I have to do that.
I have. We could do some shopping, some tea shopping. I think is in order. You wanted a scarf.
You know what? On second thought, I don't think I want a scarf. I think it would be better if I figured out where this Silvera individual is.
That would be probably good as well.
All right. So it sounds like some people want to do some shopping.
Mm-hmm.
You want to ask after Silvera?
Sure.
How about you, Dalius?
I don't have anything to do. I'm gonna wander around and kind of get a lay of the land. Look for anything interesting that maybe I could just spot on foot, rather than just asking around, or ask around too.
All right. Sounds
Basically wandering, but not straying too far as to lose my friends. Although I guess I know where they'll end up. But
Yeah. So we'll start. If you're looking for basic supplies, feel free to transfer that gold in whatever amount you want.
gold.
For copying. Any components exist here if you need a new focus, you want to upgrade, those kinds of things. Most places, things like focuses degrade in value. Here, it's they resell at the
There's a
value.
market.
Yeah, they resell at the value that they were purchased at. So your focus, if you have one, is you can sell for its value. any like non-traditional components. Oh, diamonds, pearls, powders, those kind of gold piece, incenses, what have you. Face value, feel free to buy your spell cost worth if you need to. I'll go to Dolan right off the bat,
Okay.
and then I'll jump back.
Mhm.
So Dolan, you head off, and you make your way up through the city.
Mhm.
The stairs to climb up are steep. There's lots of them.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a trek.
Mhm.
By the top, you might even be feeling a little bit winded.
Sure.
Going up, it's not straight stairs up. You end up like crossing several larger bridges, zigzagging back across. You have these incredible views off the way you came. You can see Baldur's Gate in the distance. You can look off to, or the hill in front of Baldur's Gate, I should say, in the distance. You can look off into the ocean and see ships and such things. And it's just kind of...
I sort of imagine that like seaside brisk air flowing up at a higher elevation, and just being able to take a breath and take it all in. And
Exactly.
um,
A spectacular thing that you see is one of the lower, taller spires, rather wide. As you're heading up, you catch a brief glimpse of movement, and your eyes head that way. And there are 6 or 7 griffins that have taken off with riders from there and are kind of flying up through the spires of the city. Large winged birds make their way through. You think you glance at flying white, definitely a Pegasus.
this is reminding me more and more of Waterdeep, but it is actually much more extravagant. I've never seen a Pegasus, but I do believe Waterdeep does have Griffin Riders. Yeah, no, it's bringing back some good vibes. I've never been here before.
Good vibes,
And
man.
Good vibes.
This, I feel like I'm back at school.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So after about a half an hour climb up to the top of the city, you come to a series of, it's a very large building. It's the kind of the crown to Candle's Keep, if you will. The entryway is one massive building, but there are several larger separate spires that come off of that building. You would guess each is an Archmage's tower.
Is there a bard? I'm sorry. Is it a bard's college here? Do I notice anything like that?
Not so much. I mean, lore bards might come and study here, but there's no instruments. Yeah, a very specific type of bard.
Very
might spend
specific
time
type of
here.
bard. My type of bard once upon a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in this area, there's these massive staircases that spiral up the towers. In the center of this massive building, there's a hall with a dome. And on that dome, there's just these massive, gorgeous, colorful murals. And the murals themselves, give me a knowledge Arcana check on them.
That is an 18.
All right. The entire dome is laid out as kind of a visualization of the plains. And
Nice.
around each of these like rings of the plains, there are cross sections. You can see the continuation of it on the floor as the plains are kind of on multiple axes. There's gorgeous artwork. Massive flying snakes through what is obviously the like celestial plane, huge white wings, all the way down to gnarly little demons and devils in what are the hells. These kinds of images.
Gotcha.
They do seem to correlate the centers of these images, or kind of like mainstays of those planes correlate with doors, or even these kind of strange cocked twirling staircases that go up into doors in the ceiling that seem to hang upside down in some places. You look at the stairs and some of them just don't make sense. Like you'd be walking up it and you're sure that if you got to a certain point you'd be upside down. That's the visualization.
This is the mural. There is no actual...
No, there are stairs.
There are stairs.
To doors, portals, or more ports, like roundish doors, that go into the centerpieces of these murals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow. I don't imagine going into one of the doors on the lower side of that is a good idea.
Well, I mean, you have this guess as you're looking at it that this is the library key. This is the organization. Right. These are the planar ones, and so the knowledge behind those doors, the libraries correlate with what you're seeing.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So, taking a look around, I know that I'm caught up in all of the extravagance here, and I'm almost forgetting why I'm here. But one of those doors, I imagine, goes to the Nine Hells.
Yes, and more. It also goes that door itself kind of hangs in the middle of these massive images of what look to be powerful devils and powerful demons in some sort of clash, and so the door is directly between them. So you would guess that the knowledge beyond that is not just the hells, but the abyss as well. All of the fiendish.
I am going to drift. So, just to recap, the doors are in the top of these sets of stairs that are warped through space and time. Not space and time, but through
they just
gravity.
have like a what is the name of that type of stair that just doesn't make any sense?
Escher
MC Escher.
the Escher staircases?
Yeah, the ones that kind of like go to like nowhere
Yep.
or like kind of you're walking up them and at a certain point it flips and you'd be walking on the
the
other side.
Escher.
Yeah, that's the appearance.
I feel,
Thanks for knowing.
given the most recent events, that I want to go into, that part of me wants to go into the door for the Nine Hells. Because I imagine there's going to be something worth learning in there. But at the same time, it's one of those things where, do I want to go straight for learning about the Nine Hells? Should I not know more about El Terrell?
Well, I'll give you this
Or the fate of
reminder
El Terrell?
that each of these kind of sat underneath an Archimage's tower. And if I remember correctly, your purpose was to head off and find Silvira. And you have a guess at where she might, at which one might lead to the underneath of her tower.
Sure.
To make an appointment with the intern.
Right. So I believe, given that piece of information, I'll probably start drifting in that direction a little hesitantly, but then as I start stepping up the stairs, does my center of gravity shift? Is that kind of what happens?
So as you're walking up the stairs, it feels very normal. You continue up this set of stairs, and it feels so normal that you're most of the way up before you do realize that beneath your head, up is down, down is up. You're definitely twisted. Everything, there's a sense of strange reality about it. However, your gravity just feels normal. It doesn't feel like there was any shift or transition. You kind of just naturally came to this point.
Gotcha. Is that door unlocked?
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yep.
So I'm gonna open it. As I open it, is there like a red crimson glow that comes in through the other side? Is it just
Not in any way.
Okay.
You open the door, and what you see.
Is it really hot in there?
No.
It's just a tower, right? I'm not actually going into
No,
into
you're
the
not
place.
actually going into the place.
I'm not
no.
going into the
As you open the
deep
door,
dark place.
You look down, and there is what feels like an endless hallway
Okay.
of rows and rows of bookshelves 30 feet tall going off in either direction. One central kind of corridor that goes down 50, 100, 300. Doesn't feel like it should fit
Right.
given the dimensions, but there you go. It just heads off.
I'm gonna shake my head and blink.
Just an unreal collection of books. The first books you see are kind of, like grade school fact and fiction kind of books, like general knowledge books, like you might pick up at
like everybody
at,
sins. It's like there's like nobody sins but you.
But as you look down the hallway, you definitely you get this feeling of like dread from the end.
Okay.
And as you head down, you notice that the books are getting kind of older. The tomes are the languages are changing. You're seeing, the first ones were written in Common, Elvish, Dwarvish, whatever. You're seeing tomes definitely written in infernal scripts. You're seeing tomes that are bound up with chains, with like glyphs and sigils on them that are glowing.
In like Proto-Indo-Common and like ancient versions of...
Yeah, so there's... And you see books that are like literally shuddering on the shelves. And there's a hallway, or one of the sections goes off down into just total darkness, and you hear like shrieks of terror and pain and agony. I'm gonna as I'm exploring and I'm feeling the sense of dread build, and staring into the abyss for a little bit of time. No rolls? Okay, good. Do you walk down the corridor?
No, I don't walk down the corridor.
From this, I'm assuming all of this you just do from the main corridor. It's there's some relative safety about it.
But like, I stare at the darkness for a little bit, and then
The darkness
I
stares
might.
back.
This darkness stares back.
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Not a saving throw. Perception check.
I mean, my perception is elite. It's
4. So you're looking, and then you like kind of shake your head and go about your business.
Am I in the darkness all of a sudden?
No.
Oh my god, I
You
wandered
turn.
in.
Boom! And there's this like crazed looking man, scraggly beard.
Uh-huh.
He's got like strange looking eyes that, as you look at them, the pupils seem to spiral back into his skull. And he's just like looking wild. He's
Okay.
like,
My hand.
It's called the bad.
My hand kind of goes toward my sword for a moment, and I'm kind of standing ready and just kind of staring at him, and then like,
read this one. He pops a book like just right in front of you. If you don't take it, it just falls to the floor, and he goes like prancing off down the dark hallway.
Wait, hold on. Where are you going?
He disappears into the darkness.
There has to be a center desk here somewhere with a bell. So I'm gonna go look for the central
Gonna leave
desk
the book
with a
on
bell.
the floor.
Well, I'm gonna take a peek down at what book it is.
All right, give me a perception check.
Okay, that's better. That's 18.
All right. Yeah, you hear just like whispers and mad muttering coming from the pages of the book.
What?
Do you inquire more?
You want to pick it up?
What kind of things is it saying? Like,
You feel like you just have to get a little closer. Like you might have to like open it up. Like you feel the
I'm
same
gonna
draw.
kneel down.
Dare,
and
remember
start
dare.
looking at this book.
The whispers, they're coming out. They're like calling. They're definitely, you can't make out the words. There's secrets in there. There's terrible, wonderful secrets, power. It's all just, you can't make out any of what they're saying. But there's definitely something there.
That's why his hair is so big, full of secrets.
Oh no. Might I bring about my flaw?
You might.
Because unlocking an ancient mystery is worth the price of a civilization.
Yeah, I mean, I might have
I shouldn't
like
have
I might have
chosen
known
that
your
as the
flaw.
flaw. Okay. So I'm gonna start kind of leaning down towards the book and kind of look at it from the side, even, and then
there's a latch on it. You have to pull the latch on.
I'm gonna slowly pull the latch.
All right, you pull the latch. You pull the latch.
The devil book.
The pages immediately flip open, like wind through them, rustling, flapping. They open to a certain page. There's some awful imagery of like 1,000 faces screaming in agony and torment. It flips some more. Make me a saving throw, wisdom.
Oof.
Or the beginning of Evil Dead.
Yes.
Starts.
You know, this is my brain now. 4.
All right. You fall face first against the book, and darkness overcomes you as you hear these screams and whispers
Your old
in
friend.
your mind. And with that, we have to go off on break. So we'll leave our good friend Nolan chilling in the library. Hope you're all having a lot of fun. We will be back at 8:30. Thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to continuing with you. got audio, and welcome back from break, everybody. I hope you had a good one. We kind of contemplated what madness our good friend Dolan might be experiencing within that book he has in front of his face.
Trying to land on top of
This is like Skyrim putting buckets on guards' heads.
But so as we left off, just a quick first half recap. The crew made their way into Candlekeep. They found the hearth. They had some tapas and tea, and decided what they were going to do next. And then they parted ways. Split the party in the best way possible, in the safest place they could find.
Each person in half.
And of course, it was the safest place they could find. Our good friend Dolan
Arguable.
went up to attempt to set an appointment with Silvira. I can look at the front of my find the pronunciation key because it's there, but whatever. On his way, he met an interesting individual.
I met a certain Bob. Maybe it was Bob. I don't know. You know, I mean that library could have been filled with Bobs.
Could have been totally filled.
All sorts of bad Bobs.
He looked down an aisle,
Kind of a Cthulhu
turned
Bob.
around, Mad Bob was there. Mad Bob gave him a present, then traipsed down the aisle. And our good friend Dolan opened the present and immediately fell on his face on the floor. And there he lies,
Due to
soaking
my
in all of the terrible knowledge.
horribly inconvenient flaw of wanting knowledge and wanting to eat that knowledge with my brain.
It's like I'm a DM and I know the characters and I know the story. Whoops.
I'm gonna go back to reading my book.
Don't drool. Coming back to the rest of the party, some of the other friends have headed off on a little bit of a shopping adventure. Some things get a beautiful little hand wave. They've picked up various important objects for scribing spells, for taking notes, for writing, traveling, all these sorts of things. But now, I believe that both Orn and Ignis are headed to the same place.
Yeah.
Are you both going to the tailor?
Yes.
All right. So Orn and Ignis make their way towards a tailor. The tailor on the first level entry area seems to be a little more adept at doing things like sewing the Candlekeep logo into sweaters. Not finding too much interest in that, you've made your way up to the second or third kind of tier of Candlekeep. And there's less shops, but scattered amidst the towers, scattered amidst the kind of like sprawling steps and bridges that ascend Candlekeep, there's occasional little holes in the wall. And so you've come to one of those holes in the wall. And it's very aptly named. It's simply the tailor.
You have to, like, it's one of those shops where the more simple the name is, the more complex and cool it is.
We pause and like, is this actually a tailor, or do they have some weird naming thing here?
We would probably have to consult the library, or we can just simply walk in.
Let's go.
They have a cold press coffee maker and and all sorts of everything is very like gray woodish, very well polished.
So you head in, and as you do, you are immediately welcomed by the kind of fresh smells of cloth and wool and these sorts of general clothing smells, as well as a little bit of incense, perhaps a little bit of cedar. Along the entire back wall, there's bolt after bolt after bolt after bolt of cloth, pretty much every color you can imagine. Off to the side, there are hundreds and hundreds of spindles of threads that as you look at them, there's so many, and the color variations are so slight and so distinct, the whole thing just seems to flow from one color to the next across the entire wall. Places in that set of spindles are shimmery, glistening, sparkly. Some even radiate a little bit of light. Some you can just barely catch out of the corner of your eye, and you look, and when you look directly at them, the fabrics aren't quite easy to see. Certain colors of black, that sort of.
It's an unseen servant sweatshop, though, is what they're not telling you.
And then Draco Malfoy walks in like in the first Harry Potter book.
Leaning back in a chair, reading a book towards the back of the shop is an interesting fellow. He's quite small, has a little tail, and 2 short horns coming out of the top of his head. He's a little bit chunky.
Is he dressed well?
He's healthy. Yes.
How much do we look out of place? Because like we've been traveling for days, wearing rags in Baldur's Keep, probably like for you. I mean, I'm probably just like wearing like tattered.
I did buy this very nice jacket.
That's right. You did.
You do have a nice
I
jacket.
have a nice jacket.
Yeah. You do. I forgot about
Did you get it tailored there too, or is it just like a nice jacket you found off like a rack?
Nice jacket. I think it's got a nice clasp at the top, but not like fitted or anything.
Maybe he
like
can
that.
fit it for you.
He looks up as you enter.
Pop some tags. Sorry.
Well, howdy there, friends.
God, he's southern. Watch out.
Hello. We appear to be in the right place. We're here for some proper fitting clothing.
Y'all look like you need it.
I look at Orin and just.
I like
Yes.
your jacket, though. Fine taste.
Yes, I suppose in our travels we've changed as people and occupations, and perhaps it is time for us to find more appropriate clothing. At least in my case.
Are y'all looking to settle in here at Candlekeep?
For a small amount of time. Do a little research.
So I ain't looking for no scholar's robes.
I would say that we both do our own fair bit of researching, and perhaps because we do most of our work out in the field.
Oh yeah, I'll give you this. I ain't looking to beat around the bush. I'm starting off trying to figure out what kind of fabrics. So something tougher, a little more like outdoorsy.
Yes.
For me, yes, something practical yet appropriate for the work that we do in both looks and function.
The work that y'all do.
Seems like this big crossbow that I have. But I have a book now, you know.
And what if I might inquire?
I'm educated. I'm an academic. I have a book.
civilized.
What
Yes.
variety of work might y'all be in?
In the past, I suppose I worked as somewhat of a mercenary or a hired bolt in the dark, I suppose. But I suppose
I'm picking up what you're laying down. What takes people to remember your face?
I suppose I would want something. Perhaps in the future I'd wear something to cover my face if I needed to.
No. Y'all ain't getting me right.
The clothing distracts from.
Are y'all wanting something that people will look at you and say, "Hell yeah, I know that man," or something that says, "Who the hell was that? I don't remember him. I don't recognize that man. I ain't seen him in my life."
I think what would you want?
More on the less recognized end.
Probably the same.
That's a little bit less exciting. But I can do that for you.
Well,
I just like my bright colors.
There is a color that perhaps might be interesting for me, and I suppose like I'll motion to pull out a weapon. I don't mean to I just pull it out.
He doesn't seem concerned.
Right. And the color that I use for my planar warrior stuff, like the force damage stuff that I do, and kind of like cyan bluish green. I think it'd be cool to have something that kind of like where there would be color, something that reflects that.
Just like a little bit of embroidery, or inside the seams, if the cape flares, you get a little bit of color, a little bit of. You got to roll up your sleeves. People see a little bit of a pattern.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of thing you're looking for?
Maybe, yeah. And perhaps I like to keep things as I move quickly through some either foliage or bodies. I have to move freely, but
But you don't want it to catch on brambles,
Right.
branches.
But if I were in a place of place here or something like that, maybe it'd be nice to have a little bit more of a drape that can be stowed and something that can be open.
Multifunction screams lower class. Get 2 outfits.
He's a salesman.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe like perhaps like a coat or something to wear when I'm at a city or something like that, or a cape. I don't know. Perhaps not a cape, but something.
No capes.
No capes.
I tell you what, if I'm using the same colors, if I'm using the same fabrics, I'll give you a little bit of a discount. 2 sets. I recommend 2 sets. Otherwise, you're out mucking around, someone sticks you with an arrow. You got to come into the city with a hole in your tunic? That ain't right.
You are wise.
He makes a very strong point.
He seems to be good at the work that he does.
You have to be like the Mandalorian and just spend your first paycheck on armor.
All right.
Spoiler!
Spoiler! I've seen enough memes to have it spoiled for me. I've not seen
hey.
it. Sorry.
Get into your book.
All right.
All right. Any particular pattern or sigils, runes?
I study the planes, so perhaps something that follows suit.
I could put some Celestia in there.
That
Look,
sounds intriguing.
feeling a little heavenly.
Mm.
Could put a little astral in there. You're feeling wispy.
I'm not saying no.
Well, is the astral plane the plane that connects to all the other planes?
It is
So
the
it is-
travel. It is the travel. Plane.
Yeah, so it is quite,
Yeah.
metaphorical.
That would sound appropriate.
Astral. All right. I know what you want. I'm gonna make it for you.
Great. Your turn. You're in the hot seat now.
And what can I do for you?
2 sets as well.
Blood
one-
red.
Blood red.
Blood red on the inside. You said something a little more nondescript. Grays, blacks.
Some darker.
Gray and red actually go quite nice together.
Some darker grays, yes.
A little bit of charcoal, perhaps dark charcoal.
Charcoal.
And the red is the accent, and the gray is the base. It could look quite dashing.
I feel something maybe a little like a reversible jacket.
I
It could be descript if you like, or less nondescript. Works both ways inside out.
the issue, and I'll just open one side and it's just tons of pockets on the inside. Hard to stow things and
Ah.
such. Jackets.
Very simple. An invention not too long ago was the trousers.
I pull out like a whole medicine kit out of the.
There are bags, satchels, but if you're looking to hide it inside, I suggest a harness.
Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
Fan art. Leather harness.
That way it rests directly on your person, and if perchance your jacket gets grabbed, stabbed, lost, burned, all of your articles are still on your person.
I believe you sold me on this.
This guy's a real quartermaster.
That is, wait, I should realize, as far as Nazi, if you're orangey, right?
Yeah.
Would that clash with the red though?
Nah.
Okay.
It's
All
an
right.
extension of the fire within.
2 sets for you as well? Excellent.
4,000 gold.
Now, I don't know what your background is or what your wealth is, but if you have a little extra coin, I can do some enchantments.
How much extra?
Depends on the enchantments.
What can you do? Protection.
Protection, that one's expensive. Protection from specific things, a little less expensive, still pricey. One time, the first time something gets you, way cheaper. A lot more affordable.
What about things to make it a little bit harder to be seen or recognized, or is that something that's built into the fabric?
You're talking about like a disguise,
Well,
or like
I point towards the fabric that it's like hard to see is kind of shifting.
that's expensive.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Typically, you see, that's not a. He motions to the types of things it's with, and it's in spools of thread. So that in particular is a thread. So typically, that material I have, because it's so pricey, I use to embroider hidden runes, signs, sigils, black on black, so that perhaps the wandering eye won't catch it. But in the right turn of light, the right catch of a flame, you might be recognized.
We have a box that has some paper with value inside. Perhaps that might be something of use for him. And we just bring the whole party along here. He's simply seemed to be, he's quite the salesman. Perhaps everyone else would like to have some time with him as well.
I think that'd be fun.
Box of papers, you said.
Insurance
Insurance.
on a ship.
Yeah.
Now, what would I want to do with a ship?
The
The
ship
money
is in the bottom of a harbor.
and insurance needs to be claimed.
That there's an interesting thing. I have to take a look at the paperwork.
We had it notarized. I remember.
We did.
I have rather a keen eye for paperwork. Bring it on over.
I have the black box, and I will show him the papers.
All right. And what did I ascribe the value? I said it was like a third of the ship's value or something like that.
Oh, was it a third?
I thought it was the full ship's value.
Yeah.
It was less than the ship's value. I know that because the ship's value was like 10 grand, but no one would buy it. And I think I had said like 4 or 6 or something
Oh.
like that.
Yeah, I knew it was something in the thousands. I couldn't remember.
I think it was 10. I don't think it was the full ship value.
Yeah, I don't think you would have given us 10, but it sounded more like it was.
I think
There
I
was
might
a
have.
page that said 45 on it.
I might have thought at the
was-
time.
That was the
Oh.
dragon cultist.
I might have
what
at the
they
time
did.
just calculated like $500 or 500 gold each off the top of my head, and so 4,000 was probably because there were 8 at the time. But so I think 4,000 would be.
That-
I'll go
yeah.
5. I'll go 5,000. Screw it.
Okay, cool.
All right. So he begins looking through. Oh dear, what a mess! What a mess. You'll never get your paperwork right. This is Baldur's Gate, yes?
Yeah.
No, it's all very messy. Just these clauses, they make no sense. There's too many loopholes.
I feel like he's
But I can work with it. Oh,
It's the papers belong to a group of ours, so perhaps since I believe we're close to being done here, we share our wonderful experience so far. with our group.
Don't give me accolades until I create your first work.
I'm turning into a shill right now as an influencer.
So if I do a post, can I stay here for free?
Yeah. But we'll bring it to the rest of our group, I suppose.
I do like customers, especially ones that enjoy the idea of enchantments on their gear. Like I said, I will warn you, some of the things end up being quite pricey. However, the one-time use or a couple-time uses or these such things are a little cheaper.
That makes a fair bit of sense.
All right. Should I start on these garments, or should I wait until you make a decision as to what sorts of enchantments you might be interested in?
Are the enchantments something that can be done at the end, or they have to
It
be
must
done?
be done during the process.
Perhaps we.
Perhaps I get started on your casual city clothes. This seems possibly less,
Your day wear.
possibly less something you might need an enchantment for.
And we'll discuss with our associates this evening.
All right.
We'll be back in the morning.
I don't need a down payment, just your word you'll be back.
I will be back.
Looking around, is there any made clothing? Like, does he have wool socks?
There's no made clothing.
There's no made clothing.
Yeah, it's all specialty to order.
Could you fashion 3 pairs of wool socks as well? Same charcoal gray.
Of course. Going somewhere cold?
Don't like wet feet.
It's a simple enchantment. Only need 1 pair. A little pricier.
Smell proof, moisture wicking,
That'll be upsale.
micromodal
I'll make
fabric.
joke. Please, I will make your socks. This is of no consequence. I'll have them done by the time you get back with your friends, more than likely.
We will be back.
I look forward to it.
This man's a real Calvin candy.
Yeah, does he have like a brand? Like, does he have a mark that he puts on his
A
clothing?
monogram?
Yeah.
Since he doesn't have any clothes made, you're not sure, but I'm sure you'll find out as soon as you have a set.
We're just gonna like flash this clothes, like, oh look at me, I got the brand.
That and then the flaming fist emblem.
If any future viewers have a clothing brand they want us to plug,
Hey, that'd be great. You, like, ship
We
it out
should have
to-
got a sponsor.
Oh yeah, not gonna say any brand names. You know who you are. But so you leave and you head back down. What was it you were going to be doing?
I am meandering. There's some sad piano music playing, and I'm staring off like into open windows, and it's just kind of, it's like all by myself is playing.
Can it
When
be-
I was young.
Can it be like the sad Charlie Brown song?
Yeah, basically. And Dolly's is just thinking about the fact that he has no money, and he's not, he got kicked out of his home, and he was for the most part an abject failure at everything he's ever done, and he's just kind of pondering this.
Good, happy, chill thoughts.
And
I'm imagining like kids staring through the window of a toy shop.
But no, I mean, for the most part, like, if anything, he's just looking for anything to kind of inspire him. But other than that, he's, not going to stay out for too long.
But then I can see him come across like a run over animal and just like find meaning in it.
I'll just revive it. And
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Oh wow, not good.
That just
That's well, I mean, it's 11.
11? All right. I don't know that there's anything, depending on how far up the Candlekeep steps you wander, incredibly inspiring, although you see the griffins, you see the Pegasus, the size and variety of birds flying around is pretty incredible. In fact, a little too incredible. There are way too many species of birds for this location. A bunch of familiars Goddamn mages.
Like his dark materials.
But you see these birds, and now that you're looking a little closer, you see bats. You see other like smaller flying creatures darting between buildings, obviously carrying messages between people. That seems to be their primary function. Yeah, the whole city is very like alive with this movement. Meanwhile, at around lunchtime, there's a large influx of people to kind of the lower area, and the hearth fills almost entirely, and it kind of comes to life. People chattering, people talking about their research, their discoveries as you're watching and listening. Some people will talk about this incredibly vague, unimportant little piece of magic history that doesn't interest you at all, but you can't help but be fascinated by how interested they seem in how ridiculous that is.
Right. And so that's how the first homunculus learned to speak. That's good to know.
That's a great spell.
But through it all, you notice, with that perception check, this large ogre has gone through an entire tome and started another one. And you notice this just because you saw when he was first in, there's thin on one side, thick on the other, and then that whole tome is set off to the side, and he's halfway through another one. And he's flipping at kind of a quick rate. Other than that, there appears to be a couple people gambling.
Okay. I'll talk to the ogre. I'm sorry to interrupt. What are you reading?
He looks up, and he kind of lifts the tome so you can see it more clearly. The Sum of Theology is the title.
The Sum of All Theology.
The Sum of Theology by Saint Vithira.
That's okay.
Ah, yes, that's saint.
Have I heard of this?
Knowledge, religion.
Okay. Wow. That's more good rolls for me. Some things that I'm good at for 500. 7.
7, yeah, you don't recognize the name. But you do recognize the symbol on the book. There's a little symbol of Agma on the book, and so the saint is probably some follower of Agma.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the publisher.
Publishing house. Yeah.
He says, you're new in town.
I am. I came with a number of people from Baldur's Gate.
I saw.
And we're looking for ways to to learn things. We're also looking to find ways to keep ourselves busy and be of use.
This is a very good book.
Oh, are you done with it?
I will be in an hour or so.
Well, that's pretty fast.
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Still not doing great. I mean, 14.
That's good enough to notice. He definitely, as you're close and looking at him, you look up to his eyes. He has a very nice looking headband.
Okay. I remember this from Storm King's Thunder. That's quite the article of clothes. I don't see many large men wearing. It's a very unique fashion choice. I like it.
It's garish, kind of shiny and gold.
Oh, you don't like it?
Take it off your hands.
I don't like the look.
Why do you wear it?
Out of respect.
I see.
Well, do you ask because you want to know the story or because you're curious about the object?
I both. I mean, it's when I see something unique, I tend to wonder.
Well, you see, a few years ago, I was out in the wilds with those of my kind, brutish, mean, killing and slaughtering for enjoyment. As I was traveling down the road, this puny little halfling was traveling alone. He was wearing the gold headband, and I thought, look good. I remember the thought to this day, although simple, strange. It doesn't really look good. In fact, it's not even a very elegant fashion statement, but at the time, look good.
It was shiny and gold.
So I took my club and I smashed him many, many times until
did?
his body laid
Oh,
in pieces and pulp on the ground in front of me.
I see. Okay.
And I raised a cheer and
As
took,
one does.
yes, and I took my prize and I put it on my head, which is ridiculous because of course the thing would not fit me. It fit on a tiny little halfling.
Yeah, but it was like a little tiny crown.
Yes, I probably looked once again garish, ridiculous. I was like a ring. I probably could have worn it as a bracelet when I put it on my head. Anyway, for better or worse, I set it on my head and I went about my way. I took a nap not long after that, feeling all of the joy and exuberation from smashing a small, puny little thing on the road like this. I laid down to rest, and when I awoke, I realized what I had done, and I thought about it, and I thought about life, and I thought about this. I thought about this.
You had an
this
existential
poor being.
crisis.
Yes, and
Yeah, it happens.
Circlet of intellect.
I thought on it, and I thought on it, and the only thing I could come to is, of course, this had been delivered to me to learn the errors of my ways, and so I came here to do this, and I learned, and now to honor the halfling and to honor all of this,
It's a real Algernon situation.
seek a better life. I wish to learn everything.
It's a book about it. Somebody who rapidly gains
Anyway.
intelligence. Anyway,
My name is Little One. I took this in honor of the halfling.
that's very sweet. I think that it sounds like this all happened for a reason, and I know that my background, people tend to. We all have existential crises when we realize how soon death can come for us, and how easily we dispatch and kill people, seemingly for no reason sometimes. On the road, if they try to mug us, we just destroy their bodies.
Or if they are walking along, or if they are walking along with a cart of apples, and you want an apple, and so you murder the person so you can take an apple and then leave the cart to rot.
Right. It's a very strange society we live in when we really stop to think about it. But I'm glad that you came to this understanding. I'm glad.
Do not take it off.
I'm not y'all.
Would you like to sit and read with me?
I would love to do that.
I would be very glad for the company. You seem very nice.
I try to be.
So he kind of pats the chair next to him and pushes the book that he was reading towards you and picks up another one. So do you sit and read
Yeah, I
the
sit
Sum of
and
All Theology?
I'll read the
Sum
Sum
of
of
Theology by Saint Withira.
15 years later.
It's a very dry, long, slow read. Definitely not like no flower to the language.
Eventually they find me and fall asleep with like this giant book covering my face.
It's like reading the Encyclopedia
Really
Britannica.
Yeah.
Make a saving throw.
Okay. I did pretty good.
Nice.
Especially if it's like wisdom or even intelligence or whatever.
It's Constitution.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
God.
I'm fine.
Okay. So
It's
you
like an
don't
18.
fall asleep while reading it and offend him. And there you sit for the time being. Aurelius, was there anything in particular you would like to head off to do?
I think I will go find a library. Is he at the only so he went up to the towers, but I'm gonna go to another library hall, whatever.
So just to give you this kind of reminder, there's like every tower
Yeah.
has libraries in it. What in particular are you seeking out? Because a building, are you looking for a genre, a time, an object? What are you trying to look for?
Spellcraft.
Spellcraft. So in particular, theory of or actual spells. Are you looking for spell books? What's your
Applied spellcraft.
applied spellcraft?
Applied.
So actually, wizard spell books and scrolls and
Sure.
things.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So you'll find your way into On like the third level, a very large, ornate building with a single spire coming out of it. Has arcane sigils and runes kind of all over the sides. And you see mage types coming in and out.
Okay. Can I go in?
Yeah.
Okay. I will go in and I will find. Is there like a librarian or like a like?
So there's a front desk, and on that desk there's just a single glowing orb.
Oh, they've automated. I will. It's like the checkouts, the self checkouts. I will go up to the orb and ask it about.
So as you approach, it pulses, and you hear in your mind just a gentle ding. Hello, how may I be of service?
Where can I find books on advanced conjuration?
Advanced conjuration. Do you have a level in mind?
Oh, we're okay. It's meant like that. 3 and up.
There are many halls for levels 3 and up.
Okay.
I would suggest you choose a single level and head there.
I'll say. I'm gonna go back and do making own spells. Spellcraft.
Back to the beginning.
Yes. Back to the main menu.
Main
Zero.
menu.
Go home. Operator.
Speak to someone. Agent. Speak to person.
You wish to see books on
Making your own spells.
spellcraft.
There we go. Yes.
What variety of spells? And it will begin to list schools of magic.
Okay.
And then it will list.
Did that include the UA schools as well?
No. It will also, after the schools, it will say wizard, necromancy.
Oh, okay.
And then go through those, and then it will go cleric, druid, and it will go through all the mains and subtypes.
I'm going to do wizard conjuration.
Of what level would you like to see?
How will I know what I'm making? I'll do 3rd level.
3rd level. Please proceed 200 meters straight ahead.
It's meters, not feet. Straight ahead?
Straight ahead.
Okay.
Metric system.
I know.
Man, Candle keeps fancy.
That's superior.
They use these kilograms instead of like hog weight. Stones. All right, I will proceed 200 meters straight.
All right. So when you get there, there's a door kind of off to your left, and it appears to be an entry to a different wing of the building. There's a conjuration symbol. You said conjuration,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Conjuration symbol above the door.
All right, I will go in.
All right. You step in, and you kind of come out onto this platform. And the platform is about 15 feet above the floor. And that floor has this maze of dividers. Separate little rooms, cubicles, types of situations, things like that. Areas that are completely encased in shimmering magic. A whole area with like books and scrolls and notes. And there's probably 20 or 30 individuals, all who look really tired, stressed, in varying levels of having been scorched, or one person is attempting to fix what appears to be a fire that won't go out on his hand. These types of things.
That's super glue.
And in every little cubicle, there's some that are full, and those are full of like books, stacks of things, stacks of components, stacks of whatever. And then there's empty ones where there's like just empty shelves, obviously spaces where you could go and just sit and research your,
I guess I will choose an empty one.
All right.
Avoid the sad man with the super glued fire. And go there.
All right. So you sit down. The area itself has several drawers,
Okay.
and there is a jar off to the side,
Okay.
and it's kind of a suggested donation jar for using the space. But other than that, there's a fair amount of ink and quills, and paper, and it appears to be just at the very beginning. This is where you might sit down and start jotting notes.
Okay.
In order to continue from this place, you might need books and tomes and these kinds of things. But it's the setup for someone who's setting out to design a spell.
I will begin phase 1 then and start
Dreaming.
dreaming. Making my vision board.
Imagineering.
All right, you sit down and you begin dreaming up what you like. There's not going to be a skill check. What I would like you to do is just kind of begin drafting out what you might imagine you would create. Okay? And then there will be lots from then on, of course.
Cool.
You're probably going to spend the rest of the day there, because that's an arduous task.
That's fine. I got my little raven. I got my non-coffee.
Oh, here's another fun thing. In each cubicle, there is a brass bowl or a brass whatever, and a fair amount of incense.
Okay.
And I think a couple other things. What are those?
Brazier.
Yeah,
brazier.
a brass brazier, that's the one.
Brazier.
And a fair amount of incense.
Okay.
Brendan Brazier.
Are you doing this?
You do notice that a bunch of the
That just
people
comes to when
around
you're reading.
have like a closet or imp or some other intelligent familiar that they're using to go and get extra books for them to hold things that might be dangerous if they're willing. These kinds of things. So another suggested donation thing for incense use. That's all there.
Put one. I have no money now, guys. I'll put 1 silver in.
Excellent. Better than nothing.
Yep.
So with that, the day will pass, and you two will come back from shopping in sort of late afternoon.
Want to go get some tea?
Still want to go get some tea. We can do that as well. All right.
All right.
Yes.
That man knows his clothing.
I feel special.
It's a strange feeling in this city.
Everything about this city feels strange. I even feel strange. This is, to put it bluntly, I don't feel the desire or even the enjoyment for potentially slaughtering someone.
I've lost the interest to kill. That's what Dexter went through.
It's more, just that one night and the times past in Baldur's Gate, killing someone's felt like nothing. I suppose to a degree it still feels that way, but not in the same way. The desire, the thirst isn't there.
That tea changed you.
To be honest, the vision that I saw,
That shield, correct?
yeah,
Very interesting. We could do some research on that.
I think that would be a good idea. Because I wonder, since we know the Van Thumpers,
The Van Thumpers.
they desire to.
knocked down.
the jumbo wumbo.
So I think at this point we just start walking.
Right, we're just kind of we're
Strolling
chatting
around.
Yeah, to me it seems like the the shield is a part of all of this, and perhaps with the more animalistic nature of Baldur's Keep lately.
Baldur's Gate.
That's right. Did I say gate? Second?
I heard Gabe.
Gate.
Back and forth between Keep is because Candle Keep.
Sorry.
You said Baldur's Keep a couple times.
Oh, sorry.
Baldur's Gate, Candle Keep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
Let's-
thoughts are more than welcome, of course.
Let's go find some tea. I bet the quality is much higher here.
Ha 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 ha. Monocle.
Something you might get from the land down under. Quality.
Ha! Support Australia.
Yeah, it's
everyone.
too soon.
Devin's
Now
got
with
jokes.
real
Devin's got jokes.
Oh, sad. That just made me sad.
I know. You know what?
But
Fun fact: the estate of Steve Irwin, his family still runs everything. They saved 90,000 animals
dope.
in that fire. Yeah,
Well, there you go.
90,000.
That's an incredible number.
It's an incredible family. No,
So we go hunting for a tea shop.
all right.
Speaking of koalas, tea shop.
Not so much hunting as just like wandering around until we stumble across.
Well, I figure that if it has a level of academia to the city, I'm pretty sure a coffee shop is like, oh god, there's one. Oh, another one. Oh god, a microbrewery. Oh god.
So you'll meander through town for a little while, and then the kind of smooth aroma of bergamot wafts through the air, and you're drawn into this smaller establishment. There's probably 6 small tables, little round ones. There are 2 half-elves sitting in the corner drinking from a shared teapot. Very nice china.
They would be half-elves.
Right.
They call it the tea shop.
Tutley's tea.
Thanks.
Someone write that down so I don't forget it. I like that.
Tutley.
Tutley. Tutley. Tutley.
And the other guy was just the tailor.
Yeah, the other guy was just the tailor.
But it's like Tailore.
The tailor.
The Jonathan Taylor.
Thomas.
So, behind the bar is a woman, kind of older. She's wearing very loose-fitting clothing, large earrings.
Like gauged ears?
No, just large dangling ones.
Okay.
Large dangling
Like
ones. She has a
bees.
scarf kind of
she's
wrapped
like,
Yeah.
she's like got a long silvery ponytail.
Yeah, yeah.
She talks in a wispy, light voice. She's got, yeah,
exactly
exactly.
the one.
She's not wearing shoes. Like she's,
She's wearing a sarong. So,
Mhm.
She's white. It's fine.
Welcome to Tutley's Tea, my friends.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are.
I will get you exactly what you need. Don't worry about it. I can tell from your aura.
She's a witch.
I'm
okay
love
with this.
this city.
this is the definition of heaven. Everyone just brings you what you want.
So she gestures for you to sit down, and she'll come over. And of course, she holds out a hand for coin as she sets down a boiling pot of water on the table, and a couple teacups, and
You have to check for
and
poison.
6 bags, 3 on each side. One is kind of a multicolored small berries, and the other is kind of a sharper scented, earthy tea.
I give her the appropriate amount of money.
You can read her aura. You know how much money she needs.
You can read the menu.
No, she just continues to hold her hand up.
Yeah, I mean it's a pot of tea. There's a small posting, and so you know very well it's 2 silver.
Split the silver.
She says, "Don't hesitate to tell me if there's anything you need."
Do you sell just loose leaf?
Oh, of course.
We're gonna make a day of this.
If you are looking for loose leaf, I highly recommend sampling several. If you, I will offer you a deal. I guess 2 gold, and I will just keep on bringing samples, bags of tea.
Immediately.
So she'll take a couple of the bags and take them away, in order to replace them with
Various,
a larger variety of tea.
Great. Wonderful.
And so there you sit, as long as you'd like, perusing the teas. There's pretty much everything you can imagine, from really tangy, like tangy and bitter, back of the throat kind of teas, to really earthy or grassy, kind of things, to more fruity, lighter, softer, to even like the heavier blacks. So just an incredible range.
Yeah, I imagine we just sit for
Yeah, we're staying here.
a couple
Get
hours
kinda
at
cozy a
least.
little bit.
All right.
Maybe like take off some stuff and just kind of like think, journal a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Tea number 1, my review.
you guys sit down for some tea. Up above, in
Before-
a certain
Before you even say it, I am imagining. I don't even know what's going on, but I imagine that it's kind of like going through the dark tunnel in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, except it's the nights with the Oingo Boingo playing.
Have you ever
And
seen?
it's like all sorts of
Have you ever
weird, like
seen that
flashing
film where
images
they
of
go
like.
to hell and like the 5th dimension?
Oh.
In which one?
It's got a lot of weird racism, but but they're like, I think at the time anyway. We'll talk more about
here's
this
what's going to
later.
happen.
You experience all of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I'll just
So,
say I had Danny
John,
Elfman singing Minnie the
You're
Moocher.
familiar with this ability because you play a lot of warlock type characters. Can you find and tell me what the ability that hurls you through hell does?
Am I?
Ooh, that's an infernal. It's an infernal fiend. It's
like
the fiend path.
It's like a 9th level fun, hurling people through hell, doing tons of
Am
fire
I
damage.
multi-classing again?
No, you're just having
It's another
really,
charisma class.
You're having a really rough experience.
Um,
Pact of the Fiend.
Num Shivai, Num Shivai, Num Shivai.
So at 14th level, when you hit a creature with an attack, you can use this feature to
All right, hang on, listen, guys.
instantly transport the target through the lower planes. The creature disappears and hurtles through a nightmare landscape.
Oh god.
At the end of your next turn, the target returns to the space it previously occupied or the nearest unoccupied space. If the target is not a fiend, it takes
Was it 10?
10d10 psychic damage and reels from its horrific experience. Once you finish this feature, you cannot do it. You can't do it again until you finish a long rest. It is a 14th level. Your patron
warlock.
has to be the fiend.
Well, thank God I get a long rest before this happens again.
Wait, hold on though.
Oof.
Can this actually happen
No,
though with
no,
all
just
the wards around?
Yes.
Okay, great. Roll them dice.
What?
10d10. Here.
Yeah.
Am I taking 10d10 psychic damage?
Roll your damage.
I've got my White Wolf dice.
We'll put it on here.
Okay, we'll see what
What's your
happens.
max hit points?
Max is 31.
Dope.
Yeah. This is a
There's 10.
10.
Oh.
I have
We'll have
100.
the one red die in there. Give back the green.
So on average, you're going to die.
Oh, he can choose his
Now,
next
on
pick
average,
dice.
he'll go to 0 hit points. On average, he won't die. On a high average, he'll die.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Luck be the lady.
So what I need, and I'm going to tell you this up front.
I
is-
can't bardic inspiration myself.
No, I need you to not die outright. That's all I need.
Okay.
So don't do 62 damage to yourself.
I will try not to do 62 damage to myself.
All right.
As
61
me,
it is.
the half
If he
elven
does-
lore bard turned partially paladin goes through hell. A lot of things have happened in my life.
Dude, this is your trial. This is you like affirming your paladinhood.
Oh, that's a lot of nines.
There's some nines in there. Oh
I'll
my
see
god.
10.
So there's a 9, there's a 9,
18.
there's a 9,
Yep, we're already past 20.
27.
27,
Yep.
There's a couple
20,
ones in
29,
there.
30, 31. So I'm down. That's half the dice.
Oh, you're
Thankfully.
fine. You're totally fine.
Okay, all
This
right.
is this
yeah.
is the
So that's 11, 12, 13, 17, 18. I'm not dead, but I am
Hurt.
Perfect.
Negative 18.
So
negative
there's-
18.
There are some madness tables.
Oh.
So if someone could bring
Yeah,
those
what do you
up,
want?
a
You want the
DM's,
Graza
a DM
table?
guide,
You want
something
the
like
one
that.
I can look
from,
it
like,
up.
This is
Demogorgon?
what I
I
get.
just want the DM's guide one. Just
I
the
don't
very
know. I
basic
didn't leave
one.
the DM's guide out here.
This might
but,
still be bookmarked from when we ran through
Ooh.
Out of the Abyss.
All right, so that feels bad. I know that feels bad. I'm sorry to do that to you. This book was written by a warlock. Pact of the Fiend,
Uh-huh.
and it has a lot of knowledge.
Oh,
of
it's
the-
their,
of
Do I
the planes.
learn
their Book of Shadows.
things?
So
Hopefully.
here's what is going to happen. Anytime you attempt to recall knowledge of the lower planes, you're going to be able to do it with your proficiency modifier and with advantage.
Okay.
But you get a madness.
Oof.
What kind of madness? A short-term madness?
No.
Permanent.
A long-term madness?
Nope.
Permanent.
An
It's
indefinite?
permanent.
Yes.
Please roll me percentile dice.
If he survived, would he
Okay.
get it for free?
Huh?
If he survived, would he have gotten it without a madness?
No, there's no way he was going to not go down with that. Get out of here.
I want it for myself.
All right. Oof.
Good luck.
Higher is better.
If you had failed and died outright, you would have immediately had your soul sucked into the lower planes and become the very base, lowest level of thing.
Right, the pimple.
A Lemire.
So, you know, be glad that didn't happen.
Okay, that's a 62.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me 62.
Oh, this is gonna fit real well.
Is it?
I am
Is
the
it?
smartest, wisest, strongest, fastest, and most beautiful person I know.
My goodness.
You are a narcissist to the highest
A
degree.
narcissist paladin.
Who knew that could have possibly happened?
Paladin Bard.
That's 56 through 70. That's quite a wide range.
Greater Restoration's only like 4 or 5 levels away.
So I
That is true.
imagine
Greater
I
Restoration
pop
is
out of this
that one.
experience and like it terrified me, but the moment that I reached the other side of it, I'm like, I must be some sort of god.
Well,
As you lather on the floor with negative 18 health.
yeah, you're
I
like
survived the
drooling.
hells.
Um,
What sort of chosenness have I bestowed upon
I mean,
myself?
you're lying on your back, like paralyzed, whispering this to the ceiling.
these are your mumblings as you're just laying unconscious. So you will be found by an intern or a sage or acolyte at some, you know. They
There's
will-
always one intern every hour. They gotta do a sweep fly.
and they will drag you into
Get the paddy wagon.
into a room, kind of help. It takes you a couple hours to like stabilize because what occurred is you shot through the hells, man. You saw terrible, terrifying things from every level, from the first all the way up to the realm of Asmodeus.
Oh,
Does
let's
he
name them
see
all.
Asmodeus?
Archaeus, Maladomini.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Definitely. And here's another fun thing that you get is I forget all of them off the top of my head. I only know a couple.
I was just kidding.
But as you've traveled, you have glimpsed the archdevils for every lair. So you've glimpsed all of them. You glimpsed from Zariel all the way up to through Mammoth all the way up to Asmodeus.
Mephistopheles. Yeah.
And those faces, the images of those beings, the kind of terror that you felt in them, sticks. So you're gonna have some nightmares. But you know,
Oh, what does he get though? He gets advantage on all like.
he gets
planes?
proficiency and he gets to add his proficiency modifier to any check regarding
The planes.
the planes. Not any check, I should say.
Specifically the hells.
Knowledge checks, just remember, recall, figuring information out, that kind of stuff. Intelligence-based checks about the hells.
Some about advantage.
Yes, and advantage.
Okay.
My version of Mephistopheles, sexy Santa Claus. Very cool. Very cool guy.
Let's go to that layer.
Sexy Santa.
That's not even that bad of a madness.
I must tell the party that they are in the presence of
Me.
You're looking into a mirror, and like the mirror image of you is smiling back, like in this really weird, unsettling way.
So with that, it's 7 hours later, but you'll head back down to join the party, and so you'll all kind of collect. You'll kind of finally disengage from this ogre and the book, realizing you're making no interesting headway.
I made a friend.
And you made a friend, but your party will enter one at a time, and you'll be able to join back.
Well, this
It's
is
after lunch, so there's open tables again.
this is my stop. It was really nice to meet you. I guess back to getting hurt again. in adventures and stuff.
As long as your suffering brings you knowledge, it is worthwhile.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Hi guys.
We just returned like walking in, talking about the teas that we experienced.
Yeah.
Wow,
what do I order? I want to buy 2 ounces of 6 different kinds of tea.
It sounds like you all had a great day.
I'm assuming you're going with higher end stuff, so
Yeah.
it'll be a gold for each
12.
variety.
All right. So 6 gold.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Should I do the same too? And just like I'll get different ones so we can have like these continuous tea parties along the way.
We need to get some china.
Yeah.
Is there a
I'll do
China
that
shop?
too.
Your priorities for money management are
you have one of those
terrible.
cups where you like, and it pops out, and then
I'd like to invent the insulated thermos.
And his name was Stanley.
It exists. Canteens with blubber and skin around them that the Northmen use.
and then a brand logo to charge you a lot for it.
Yeah, so the first to come back, oh man, who is the first to come back? You all are pretty caught up. The first to come back, roll a dice, roll initiative. Just everyone roll initiative.
You go for it.
Yeah, John will roll both of your initiatives.
Hell yeah, we're last.
It's a lot of tea.
I got a 3.
5.
That also. Oh, I thought it was
What-
a 3.
What's your dex modifier?
0.
All right,
Wait,
nice.
I get
So-
advantage on initiative rolls? Should I roll?
And initiative?
Am I rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a 4.
So the first person back with a
We're real late.
7
Yes.
with a 7 will be Aurelius. So as you walk in, you see your friend Dahlius disengage from the ogre and come to meet you at a table.
Hi.
Just me.
Hi.
Oh, where?
Sorry, I was a little disoriented from all that learning.
What did you learn?
I read a small excerpt of the history of theology throughout time, whatever it was called.
I'm impressed you can read.
Oh, wow.
Phew, you say that to me compared to some people we know?
Touche.
The sum of theology.
Everything. Just, this is God.
All theology.
Yeah, I had to skip some chapters, but
If you read the last paragraph of each chapter, it's basically like reading the whole book.
really, yeah. And then it has a secret code at the end.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you went and did some wizard stuff.
Yes, wizard stuff. Good way to put it.
That's cool. Yeah, it's weird. You don't just wake up knowing how to do things.
I know some people. Some people in life have to work for it.
Yeah, it sounds really difficult.
Yes, it is.
All right, so next comes in Dolan. Dolan,
With my chest puffed
can you
out.
mark off money as you've purchased a mirror?
Yes.
All right.
And that's his holy symbol. A mirror. You should have gone leveling cleric instead. And you can be your own cleric.
Am I that kind of narcissist? There's so many
No,
different ways to be a narcissist.
He can interpret
So many
this
different
in
ways.
some way.
I mean, you definitely have to practice your heroic poses so people know you're heroic.
Right.
So a mirror is important.
I carry myself with my chest puffed out and my posture straight and orderly, and I prance right in it, and I see my friends talking with one another,
Wow.
and I am like, Aurelius!
Did he get
Dahl, my good friend!
Hi!
And I come over and hug him.
Did you get into some sort of stimulant or something like that?
He looks more.
in a
He
matter
does
of
look more
speaking,
puffed
in a
than
matter
normal.
of speaking, I could have said it better myself. But anyways,
Oh my gosh, he sounds like me except worse.
well, my friends, it's been almost as if it's been an eternity. It's felt like an eternity. I was going to find the woman that we were that I was tasked with looking for, that I tasked myself with looking for. Only an intelligent person like me could have come up with that idea.
You have this feeling that she'll probably come and find you.
Oh, and by the way, and then I decided part way, after my delve into the Library of the Nine Hells, that I did not need to find her at all. She would find me. Oh, by the way, I read a very interesting book.
Insight check. Is he enchanted?
It sent me through all sorts of places. Deep, dark.
That is the point of reading, is it transports
That's
you
a 17.
to many faraway
Excellent.
places.
Absolutely.
He doesn't
I
seem to
was
be totally
face to face with
himself.
Zariel
But
herself.
he's not like enchanted or anything.
With
Okay.
Asmodeus himself. And although I saw some profound horrors, I had no knowledge that I would be able to survive these visions of hell, but I came back. I am made whole.
Well, his pupils aren't dilated like someone who's charmed or under the Gia spell, so he's fine. I was just saying, you look great.
think I
Did he
spent-
get
Just
Did he get his Joplin's tea for the day?
I don't think so.
I do not need Joplin's tea. I have found that my pledge of a paladin has shown true.
And you know what? It's true. You can mark off your addiction.
I am no longer addicted to the Joplin's tea.
You're addicted to
As a matter of
success.
fact, I have seen the lower planes, and I have knowledge of the worst, and I have survived it. I am unlike any human being I've ever met.
Yeah. we were.
Can you meet yourself though?
Uh,
I guess metaphorically speaking, you could.
yeah, no, you can.
But I don't want to ramble on all about my extravagant adventures. I'm sorry. You had something that you two were talking about something, and then I stumbled
It had
in
nothing to
my
do with you, so-
magnificent story. Hold on a moment here. Hold on. Sorry.
So as he is fixing his hair, Ignis and Orin come through the door.
You two
I'm
see
reading
that?
a pamphlet of the different types of tea we got.
That blackberry hibiscus was quite.
Did you hear it was shipped in from?
I particularly enjoyed the oolong tea. I like that one.
It's quite good.
Oh my gosh, this is just.
The Earl Grey was very smooth.
But there was enough of a bite there that it was still effective, though.
I see that you have been drinking some of the tea, or I've heard through your words, which I've perceived.
I just want to throw back to our first campaign where Ben played a paladin, and you are doing a spot on impression.
Hey, just at the head of the tree now. We made effective use of our time.
Effective.
Yes, we sampled many teas, and then we found a tailor. We all think you should meet him.
You should definitely meet him.
Okay, cool. I feel like all of you.
what this is gonna do to him.
All of you are getting indoctrinated into some weird stuff.
Taylor.
This is what happens when culture, when these people meet culture, changes them.
Candlekeep.
Animals, the lot of you.
Candlekeep is a fantastic place.
I certainly agree. Tell me about this tailor.
He is
We
the
didn't
tailor.
actually catch his name.
He's the tailor.
He's the
He is
tailor.
the tailor.
I would suppose.
Would you say that he is the tailor
that is
in
what-
Candlekeep?
Was the name of the store. Yeah.
Yes.
Well then, he's my tailor. I imagine that there are some things I may need to purchase to better refine my beautiful figure. It's a matter.
I'm gonna
matter
do
of
the
fact,
like.
Yeah.
Doesn't he get winded going upstairs?
Fellows, I mean, I'm wearing a priest tabard and like rusty scale mail. This is like, what am I gonna be doing wearing like fancy clothes?
But would you say that you are a simple cleric of your god, or one who is exemplary in bringing his word to the world? Should you not stand out and just, be a beacon to the people to you?
I mean, I once sucker punched a necromancer in a graveyard.
Right. Why don't you
That's
wear
pretty
clothes
cool.
that say that for you without using words?
My outfit today says I sucker punched a necromancer in a graveyard. What do you think?
But does
That
death
is-
need to be rebranded with fashion? I
That
mean,
is
it's
an
like
amazing,
you know what death is.
amazing anecdote, and someone like me would have the wisdom to make friends with someone of amazing anecdotes.
When you come for money, you don't need to make other people know that you have money. We know what death is. It doesn't need to make people know what death is.
Perhaps you would like to come to this place.
I mean, I'll go with you. It's fine. I'm just-
Yeah,
I mean, we can all go shopping together.
You must speak to this man. He will.
What's his name?
The tailor.
I don't think that they're charmed either.
Okay.
I'd be more than willing to spend my coin at the tailor of Candlekeep.
That brings us to another point that perhaps you want to speak to, or should I?
So we have this box with the insurance claim of the ship we acquired.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes, acquired is a good word.
Wait, I was there. Anyways.
And it's worth, we assume, about 5,000 gold pieces.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money, and this tailor is willing to take it from us in exchange for some enchanted items,
I
some
have an idea.
protections.
Why not just buy armor,
Sorry,
guys?
I'm gonna let other people
Get
talk.
We could
city.
go somewhere else.
I already.
You
Where
want
else
to
would we?
leave?
We could buy. We could buy a very fine country manor with 5,000 gold pieces.
He does bring up a good point that we could buy an apartment here.
Oh God!
You still have the box, right?
I do. Have
We
a
need to
box.
leave. I have to go see a man about a horse.
And by horse, I mean condo.
Something to think about, perhaps overnight.
No, we could look into this. It's. I mean,
We're going back.
I have an idea. Why don't we use the will as? I'm sorry, the will. The will for the ship. It was. Here we go.
The ship.
Anyways, I meant
I
to say
leave
why don't we
everything.
use the insurance as a form of currency?
This is what
That's-
we have
It's
done.
this is a beautiful.
No, he
idea.
came up with the idea
I'm
first. I
so
heard
glad
it.
to have thought of it.
yeah.
I'll do an insight check.
After, I promise that after tonight I will not be as obnoxious with this character
10.
trope.
He seems
I promise he's gonna be as obnoxious with this.
No,
I hope you are.
You
This
need
is
to keep
this is
going.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna insight as well. Worse.
I told he's not
Uh,
charmed. He's not.
You
Can I
just
have you-
think you
Can
just
I
think
have you
it's
make
the,
a persuasion
We
against
weren't
their
here yet
insight
when you said
checks?
that. We weren't here.
Oh, persuasion, huh? Woo! That's gonna be a 22.
You guys almost believe that he thought of it first. Of course he did. It's ridiculous. You don't. But the way he's saying it, he almost convinces you that he had
He's
that
gaslighting
idea
you now.
before you did.
Where I once felt
And it worked
special,
because I
now
believed
feel
it.
strange.
I now feel confused.
We bought some tea to help with that.
Yes.
Oh, you do not need to worry about me. I'm no longer addicted to that inferior tea.
Oh,
That's not fair.
What is not fair?
You should have had what happened. I'm confused.
Reading is what
Minds.
happened.
You read something to be fine from the Joplin's tea.
Yeah, there's called the 10 steps.
It is not 10 steps.
The 9.
9.
9! I don't know.
9 steps. 9 steps, and each step
And the 10 steps is reading the book.
I was face to face with one of the archdevils.
Well, okay. Oh no.
I have seen every horror in the lower planes.
No.
I have seen it. Yes. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I've seen every horror in the
many-
lower planes and survived.
How many arms does Asmodeus have?
How many arms does Asmodeus have?
Give me a knowledge check.
I think 2.
At advantage.
No, that's
At-
cocked. Though.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is cocked. You're right.
At an advantage.
Wait, advantage.
Advantage. That was a. I mean, with proficiency, it does matter. It's below 10.
Okay, can I have you roll a d6?
Oh no.
Really?
What?
You don't know what the d6 will do though.
1.
Yeah, you're absolutely certain he has one arm.
He
You tell
has.
him that.
1 arm. And it is the arm of tyranny.
Do I rolled a 15. Do I know how many arms Asmodeus has?
Absolutely not.
Trick question: he has as many arms as he wants to have.
Do you have knowledge religion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And history.
Yeah, I mean, depictions of him
Arcana.
typically are 2 arms.
1.
I say
One
nothing
arm.
in response. Just stone face. Just like.
We're not talking about that arm.
I did not. I did not.
Asmodeus' longest arm. Anyway.
His tail.
Yeah, his tail.
It was a hellish time.
It's the worst of times.
Anyways.
The worst of times.
It was a hellish time. It was an angelic time.
It was a check time. I believe. Oh dear. I believe I may have met the Bob we're looking for.
Okay, where did he go?
Into the darkness.
I cast magic missile.
Do you want to take us to the darkness?
I cannot take you into the darkness. I am not confident in your ability to handle the darkness. I, as your resident paladin, will bring you adjacent to the darkness, but I will not allow you to enter
Okay. When did you become a paladin? Did you?
I believe he took that.
On the way,
The
when we were
moment.
walking, he mentioned. Okay.
the moment that my friend from El Terrell,
What her name was?
You okay there, Ben?
my friend from El Terrell,
Right.
I am insulted that you do not know her name,
Right. It's a problem I have.
bestowed upon me a pledge. A pledge
I let him monologue.
that I interpreted
And I
with
go
my
up to the-
wisdom
up to the bar and get a cup of tea.
that I am to avenge El Terrell. And I did not know the call until I read this book. Because I am powerful enough.
What was
Did you see El Terrell?
what was your name again? To the bartender.
Steve.
Steve?
I'm going to roll.
Not like
Do I remember seeing El Terrell?
Adrian.
Do I remember seeing El Terrell during my travels?
No.
No.
No, because when the time the Warlock would have written the book, El Terrell had not fallen.
Bartender Steve.
Bartender Steve. Yeah, he's definitely he's got like dreadlocks.
Oh no.
Tie back into a ponytail.
Yep.
It's
yep.
Steve.
But we probably don't have quite enough time to go and visit the tailor because that I feel should be a little more of an event. We're 10 minutes until the end of the stream.
I'd say at this point we would go find one of the wardens and find somewhere to sleep for the night.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And
Sounds
save.
Yeah, so there's hot showers. There's communal ones and communal baths as well as individual. You kind of take your restful experience and you just kind of bask and bathe in what it's like to be anywhere other than Baldur's Gate, for one. And for two, in Candlekeep, this kind of elite scholarly capital of knowledge and lore. And tailors and such things, and tea.
Nice things.
And me.
This is what happens when you go to like certain ideological oasis.
They should
Yeah.
probably rename it like Dolan Keep or something like that.
Dolan.
at some point.
Dole keep. Bandalore keep.
But with
I
that,
don't know.
I think we'll close
One
for
of
the
those.
evening. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you had some fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah, it's great.
This is now the campaign.
Is he possessed?
So we eventually
So-
go to Avernus, but like we're level 20.
We will see you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. As always, please go ahead and follow our Instagram. This episode and prior episodes will be on our YouTube, all of which is available on the page. Do that thing, I guess, where you subscribe,
Smash that
Like and subscribe.
all that jazz.
Yeah.
Smash that
If you're
like
watching
button.
this
Yeah.
a year after we
Ding-a-ling,
recorded
ding-a-ling,
it,
ring
just
my
just
bell.
follow us.
Ding-a-ling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Have a
Bye,
good
everybody.
night, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.